Gonna change it up a little bit tonight, folks. How about some Whiskey Myers? Let's go. That's right. It's Lake Fork Bass Fishing. It's Top 5 Baits Live. We've been doing this for years. We're gonna try to get you guys set up for the most success you can by giving us the best, by giving y'all the best bait picks for the weekend. Before we do, welcome to Top Baits for Lake Fork Bass Fishing on Thursday Night Live. Let's listen to a little Whiskey Myers getting it. Yeah, get the brown water in the cup, hold it up, drink it down. Let's go, baby. We about to clown. Hold on, wait. We had to beep that out so we don't get kicked off YouTube for saying a curse word. God, it's such a great song. I'd rather be fishing. That's right. That's why they're my favorite band, because their music is awesome and they would rather be fishing. And they actually mean that. It's very true with them. So, big shout out to Whiskey Myers. There's Todd Fleischer right there, who is the bus driver for said Whiskey Myers. He says, here we are in somewhere Kansas. I can't even pronounce that. That's insane. For hashtag Firewater, who wants to fish? Because they'd rather be fishing. The whole band is into it. Todd Fleischer, the bus driver, is into it. They're fishermen, old Whiskey Myers, and they make some really good music. If you've been under a rock somewhere, you owe it to yourself to check out the greatness that is Whiskey Myers. It's Top 5 Baits. It's Lake Fork Bass Fishing. We're going to talk about it tonight, try to get you guys set up for the best success you can have fishing Lake Fork this weekend. It'll also, right now, it's going to apply basically to any lake you want to go to in this region. We're all kind of in the same scenario. We've got this lingering heat, lingering fall turnover, kind of a light, slow, methodical, drawn-out turnover. It's not really hard, but it's kind of turnover. It's got the fish kind of weird. And we'll talk about it tonight. It's a bit of a mess that we've got going on with the conditions right now. It just makes for a lot of in-between fish, a lot of inconsistent fishing. Good days one day, bad days the next. It's all happening right now, man. We really need one hard cold front to kind of flip us into real fall patterns. We're just kind of stuck in that summer to fall transition. It's kind of weird because what I'm seeing is we're starting to see some fish this week act like fall fish, even though the water temps are warming back up. So they're kind of acting like summer fish. I don't know what they're doing, but they're starting to feed in groups a little bit better as the week has gone on. So that's good, but the next time it cools back off, which should be any day now, if the weatherman would ever get something right, they're going to go back into a little bit of a shutdown mode for a little while until we push through and get some cooler weather and drop the water temp. So it's an odd time of year, man. Summer to fall transition to me is always the toughest time. It's always the toughest time to really figure it out and dial it in. But we're going to give you what's going on right now in Lake Fork, the baits that you can take out to Lake Fork, kind of discuss a little bit briefly about the areas. Of course, we're going to answer any questions that you guys might have to the best of our ability, as many of them as we can get to anyway. Sometimes you guys kill it in the comments and I can't keep up. Do me a favor, man. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Do me a favor. Let's get some more folks in here. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoy our live streams that we do here at Your Lake Fork Guide. Also, drop me a comment so I'll know who I'm talking to, who's in the chat tonight. And if you don't mind, please share this thing. Sharing is the #1 way you can help our channel out. So if you appreciate anything about what we do, share this post. That's going to help get it to more people. Man, we appreciate that more than you guys will ever know. I live my dream life based on guys like y'all watching these videos and helping me grow the content and all that. So share. Big John's life. Hey, you are MVP of our following, man, because if our subscribers go, because you always share it, dude, and I appreciate it so much. You know what? Before we start doing anything else, I'm a little thirsty. Are y'all thirsty? I'm a little thirsty. We got that good brown water mixed with that good Sprite. Hold them up, drink them down. It's about to go down. Cooper James is a kid on the Van High School fishing team. My buddy Kyle Wiggins captains him. He's literally texting me, asking me about going to fish with him while he's watching me on the live stream. Cooper, I'll get back with you in a minute, dude. I got a live stream to take care of, big dog. Stephen Latham says, call me crazy, but crushed them on a red trap on Monday. Wow. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's some odd stuff happening right now. It's a little bit of throw a dart at the wall and you can kind of catch them on something here, something there. Some days good, some days not. Some days you hit them, some days you miss them. There's a lot of randomness, it seems like, kind of going around in the fisheries right now. So, hey, let's do what we always like to do. Let's say some hellos and how you doing to the early risers, as we call them. We got Greg James, JD, Big Bash J1, Stephen Latham, Eric Evans, Big John, John Hodson, Noah Miller, James Clifton, Todd Fleischer, Gordon Ewell, John Hodson, Randy Malloy, Gregory James, Johnny Rocket. That's a great name. John Sherrod, Rocky Shoe, Adam McCluskey, Andrew Alphabet. Andrew, dude, your dang last name. I can never figure out how to pronounce it. Cody Mays in the house, John Dendy, Michael Bray, let's go, Brad Lamar. Man, there's a bunch of y'all here. Kevin Jones, Gary Payne. Dude, y'all are killing it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If I missed your name, I apologize sincerely. But thank y'all. Y'all keep dropping those comments. One more big swallow of the brown before we get down on these top 5 baits. All right. You know, we started this live stream off with the song Frog Man by Whiskey Myers. My favorite band. My favorite band right there. Right? Frogman's a great song, but we're beginning to get to that time of year. Like I said, these fish, even though we've had this lingering turnover, it's heating back up, they know by the daylight period what time of year it is. Like, they know it's October tomorrow or next day or whenever it is. They are starting to act like fall fish. Every year in the fall, there's a frog bite. Especially in October, there is a frog bite on Lake Fork every year. They're starting to bite a frog on Lake Fork right now, just a little bit here and there. It's not just whack them, stack them on the frog. There's going to come a period of time when they really get around that shallow vegetation over the next week or two, when you'll be able to pick that frog up, frog all day, and get some really good bites and pretty good numbers of bites too. Hey, when we get to the fall time of year, I like the shad pattern frogs. I have no idea what this color is called. 6 Cents Vega frog, my favorite frog. It's the best one on the market, in my opinion. You guys know my faith and my belief in 6 Cents fishing. It's founded on a long history with them and knowing that their products come out of the box ready to go. They make as good a quality product as anybody ever will with everything they do. They're very meticulous before they release. This very bait right here was a prototype that I had different prototypes of for well over a year before it got released. They're very particular before they take a bait to market. It's why I love working with them. It's why they make the best baits on the market, in my opinion. I don't know what color this is, but it's white, it's got a green back, and it's got a little bit of yellow. That little yellow right there on the head helps them focus on it when it's twitching around doing its thing up there. But I like to throw shad type colored frogs in the fall, primarily. I mean, every once in a while I'll throw some brown or green or whatever, but for the vast majority of the time in the fall, I'm gonna throw whitish shad colored type frogs. Fish are become hyper focused on shad, but the frog bite, it's happening, man. And it's real easy, guys. You just get areas that have vegetation. It can be flooded vegetation, shoreline mats, pondweed, duckweed, deer tongue, whatever you want to call it. It can be underwater vegetation that's matted up because the water has fallen on Lake Fork. So we do have some shallow mats of coontail and hydrilla in certain areas of the lake. Any type of matted vegetation, lily pads, whatever it may be, you can catch frogfish around just about any of it. Honestly, if you cover enough water, you'll run into some frogfish that are willing to bite that frog. You got to cover a lot of water, and then when you find a couple active fish, you find an overwhelming amount of bait, slow down, pick it apart with that frog, you'll get some extra bites. Maybe pick up a weightless plastic. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Wacky worm's going to be a key player for us right now as well. So frog bite is there. That's how you do it, right? There's some others. Like I said, there's so many things going on Lake Fork right now. Just a lot of stuff on all of our lakes. It's not even just Lake Fork. I've been to a couple of other lakes this week, and there's stuff going on, man. It's crazy. There's just a lot of different ways to do it right now. This Lipless Crankbait right here for Lake Fork and really any lake you go to is really good right now. There's so many small bait fish. Yeah, and hey, when I say shallow, guys, there's fish in the dirt. Like, there's some good quality fish in inches of water, less than a foot at times, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. They're just in shallow water at times right now. This little 1/4 ounce gold chrome Bill Lewis Rat L Trap, I talked about it on Tackle Talk Tuesday over on Facebook. It's definitely a bait you need to go find. It's hard to get your hands on one of these just like this. This is a 1/4 ounce Bill Lewis Rat L Trap. throw it right now. It's, man, when you get around active fish that are feeding on bait, this will catch every stinking one of them in that school 9 days out of 10. It's just an insanely good bait this time of year. That you'll see fish at times right now in schooling, what I call schooling activity, where they're chasing bait, visibly chasing bait along the surface. That quarter ounce trap is going to be the deal when that's going on. Hey, if you're a little bit of a dauber, if you're a little bit of a dragger, a hopper, a dauber, you're no flipper, you got a little Hackney and Denny Brower in your blood, which I like to power fish, but man, every once in a while I like to slow down. Slow down and just pick it apart, go fish a dock. You know, slow down in that grass, fish them holes and them edges around them creek channels and drains throughout that grass. Man, that little finesse jig's coming into play right now, and this is a deal that'll be here. You guys will see this finesse jig in my top 5 a lot over the next 2 months, really. October and November, this will be a player. But this is the 6 cents finesse jig. It's got a really stout hook for a finesse jig, which I love. This is a 3/16 ounce finesse jig. I don't know what color this is, but it's brown. Brown with a little bit of green. I got the baby stroker crawl on there. That's the green pumpkin baby stroker crawl. Lake Fork bass, Lake Hallbrook bass, a little lake down the road that we don't talk about bass. They're all biting this finesse jig right now. That little finesse jig will catch you a bass this time of year. We talked about this at length on Tackle Talk Tuesday over on Facebook. If you guys that are only on YouTube are missing out, man, we go in depth on tackle discussions every Tuesday over on Facebook. Heck, sometimes we go in depth on politics. We get a little wild. We've been known to get a little loose and let them live streams run a little long on a Tuesday night over there on the old face space. So that finesse jig, really good. Just around a quarter ounce. That's a 3/16. You can throw 5/16. You can throw quarter, but around a quarter ounce finesse jig, brown jig, green pumpkin trailer, brown and green jig, something like that. Real good. It can get it done right now. Wacky worm. We're throwing the Wacky Rig Divine Shaky Head Worm. I've got one on the Shaky Head here. I don't have one rigged up on a Wacky Rig right here handy next to me. It's probably in my boat. My boat is at Nautical Mile Marine. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But this color, watermelon candy. It's just a green worm with green and purple flake. Watermelon candy's been my best color on Lake Fork here lately. I'm Wacky Rigging the Divine Shaky Head Worm. I'm putting it on a weedless Wacky Rig hook, and I'm putting a half a nail weight in the head. Hey, around that shallow grass, around those docks, around anything, honestly, that wacky worm has been a key player in my boat this week, and really especially in the calm areas. If it's a real protected area, the wind's not really blowing in that area, that wacky worm's a player. If it's a calm day where everything's real slick and calmed off, that wacky worm's a big player, man. When it's slicked off, or they're just not biting, you're having a hard time, but you know there's fish in that area, slow down with that Wacky Rig Divine Shaky Head Worm from 6 Cents Fishing. You get you some bites on Lake Fork right now, and really on any lake most likely. By the way, 6 Cents Fishing, you guys know the drill that are regular followers. Man, go order these baits. They make the best baits on the market. They really do. Go order these baits. Punch in the code Your Lake Fork Guide when you go to their checkout screen at 6centsfishing.com. It'll save you 10% on everything you order. It'll help me out. You guys will get a discount. We'll all be happy, 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 as the great Phil Robertson says. And if you're looking for sunglasses, these are Waterland sunglasses. 6 Cents sells these on waterlandco.com as well as 6centsfishing.com. These sunglasses I've had for years now. The lenses don't scratch. As far as copolymer lenses go, I see better in the water than anything. You can save 10% on these with the same code, Your Lake Fork Guide, at either website. All right, let's see. What all we covered so far? We got a frog. We got a little trap. We got a finesse jig. We got a wacky worm. If you're into live scope fishing with shallow fish right now, if you're into live scope fishing, this is your best friend. A jerkbait, Patrick Walter showed us this, but a jerkbait is your best friend for live scope fishing. It really is. Active target. I run a Lowrance active target, but if you're into live sonar fishing, you need to have a jerkbait tied on. This color is called Hog Wallet. It's kind of a translucent. It's got a purple back, chartreuse little nose on it like that. Just like my frog. Y'all see that yellow on there? When a bass almost always feeds up. A bass's eyes are kind of situated up on the top part of his head. A bass almost always feed up, most of the time. Even when a bait's on the bottom, a bass will turn like this to look at it. They're almost always feeding that way. So they see the bottom of your bait a lot. That little yellow on there, on the nose, it really helps them hone in and target the nose of the bait. A lot of bass fishing baits are made with some kind of a bright color up towards the nose. I know everybody's noticed that over the years. It helps the bass target the head of the bait and have a better chance of getting hooked up. So I like that bait right there. It's a really good bait. Color's called Hog Walla. That's the Provoke 106X jerk bait from 6 Sense Fishing. That's 5 baits. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a bonus bait because they are biting and following the big bait a little bit. And I've got 2 of them I'm going to show you. Oh heck, I done got a bent tail. Oh my goodness. I may have to, if I can't get that straightened out, I'll have to boil a tail. Hey, if you're a swim baiter, you know about boiling tails. It's part of the game. If you're a swim baiter, boiling tails is part of your life. Andrew Alphabet, where you at? I got one for you, dog. This is the Draw from 6 Sense Fishing. I don't know what this color's called. It's got a chartreuse belly. It's got a white top. It's got a white side. It's got a little bit of a bluish, purplish, grayish colored back, right? They are, at times, here's the deal. The key thing is when I get in areas where I know there's bigger shad, I've seen bigger shad, I can get fish to follow a lot. And every once in a while, because it's a big bait, catch them on it. You don't always catch them on it. You get more followers than you do bites at times right now. But you do get some big bites on the big glide bait. So if you want to go play with it, like once I get some folks catching fish in my boat, I'll pick this up. And if I've got big shad around, I can get bass to follow this to the boat. And every once in a while, get one to go ahead and commit and eat the thing. This is a floater. They've got a floater and a slow sink. I'm throwing the floater right now more than the slow sink because the bass are so shallow in a lot of situations on fork right now. This is the tilapia color. I really like this color on fork. As I get later in the fall, especially when I get to the winter and pre-spawn, I'm going to use this bait a lot because it looks a lot like a crappie. It looks a lot like a baby bass. It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So tilapia, this is a slow sink tilapia. I'm throwing this one a little bit. I haven't really thrown it near as much. Honestly, haven't gotten any bites on this one. This shad pattern floater is the one I've been catching them on. I literally just put a hook in my nipple. I bent down because I got a terrible habit of dipping. I bent down to spit and I just put a hook in my nipple. Folks, that tickles. I ain't gonna lie to you. That smarts a little bit. That's got a little tingle to it when you do. When you put a glide bait hook, big old mean hook like that in your nipple, there's a little tickle factor to that. Sure is. You can by the way, you can also run around with a little 1/4 ounce spinnerbait and catch some fish right now too. I know that's 7 baits I gave y'all extra. We went extra. We went all in. We doubled down tonight. We'll just say that. Cheers, y'all. It's Thursday. Lake Fork Bass Fishing Top Baits Live. Let's get it. Chatterbait, yeah, I mean, I did actually catch a fish or two on a chatterbait. I've had a hard time getting them to bite a chatterbait as much here lately for me. Doesn't mean they won't bite them for you. Swim jig and chatterbait, great this time of year. Those skirted baits are really good. But they're not biting a chatterbait for me as well as they usually do right now. But I think they will a little bit here, a little bit later. Recap, missed the first two. First two was Lipless Crank. We had Lipless Crankbait, the 1/4 ounce Lipless Crankbait Gold Chrome. We had the Finesse Jig. We had Frog. They're biting a frog. Those were our first 3. So there you go, JD. What's my thoughts on the Lux rods? You want to know what my thoughts on the Lux rods are? Here, let me show you what my thoughts on the Lux rods are. Lux rod. Lux rod. Oh, it's all tangled up. Lux rod. Do I need to keep going? I've got 1, 2, 3 more. I've got 6 or 7 Lux rods sitting right here. These are the rods that have been on the deck of my boat for the last week. I just took my boat in from maintenance this afternoon. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Just hourly maintenance, nothing wrong with my boat. But yeah, Lux rods are great. Really good. Probably the best bang for your buck on the market. As far as the quality rod you're getting for the money you're paying, it's about as good as you're going to find. Do I ever doctor a square bill with a bladed treble hook? Man, I haven't. I haven't. That's actually, 6 Cents actually makes one called the Axis that kind of is a square bill with a chatterbait blade built into it that pivots. Speaking of that, hey, we're throwing this little sucker around some too now. That Crush 50X Shad drone is my favorite Shad color from 6 Cents. But the Crush 50X, yeah, we're throwing that a little bit. Am I running 20 or 25 pound line on the draw? I'm running 20. 20's fine. You know, I like to run mono on my big glide baits, though. I do. I run mono on my big glide baits. I actually want a little bit of that stretch on that treble hook bait. But yeah, 20 pounds fine. You can go 25, but I'll be honest with you, man. Glide baits, especially this time of year, I'm not fishing them deep enough to worry about hanging them up and losing them. Like if I hang one up, it's going to be so shallow I can go over there and kind of poke it off the whatever it's hung on. And I mean, glide baits are expensive. I mean, those baits are what, $75 a piece. So I think it's what they are, about 75, 80, something like that. They're really expensive. So, but you just don't ever lose them. Like I don't think in my lifetime I can count on one hand how many glide baits I've lost. But that's just because I don't have the guts to fish them deep enough. Todd says, never mind me, I'm working on fishing Lake LaCine with John. I don't even know what that is. Glide bait color is 4K Shad. Okay, 4K Shad. Hey, it's a good color. I know the Lake Fork bass like that color. Let's go west in February and throw that A-rig. I won't be able to go in February, dude. I will be in the midst of starting to coach soccer again, and I will be in the midst of pre-spawn season on Lake Fork. Stephen, I need to text you because we are planning a trip west earlier in the wintertime. I need to text you about that. We're trying to get a trip together to go out there earlier in the wintertime. And if you want to come, you're more than welcome to come with us, bud. The VMC bladed treble hooks. Replace the front hook with it. Adds a ton of flash. Huh. Interesting. No, I've never done that. That's a very cool thing. Top flasher, yes. How is the water clarity and temp on fork? Water clarity is good. It is real good for this time of year. I mean, some areas it's dirty. There's some areas you're going to see the Bryozone flax, the Bryozone sacks. Bryozone sacks are these little jelly sack looking things. They're a little microorganism colony. They float up during the turnover. You're going to see those in those areas. That water's going to be dirtier. But like a lot of the main lake and stuff, and even some of the backs of the main lake pockets, like if you've got turned up water at the mouth of the pocket, you go to the back of the pocket on the main lake, it's clear. Consider what we're dealing with turnover and stuff. The water's really, really pretty clear. Water temperature is floating just above 80. It depends on the day, it depends on the area. I've seen it anywhere from right at 80, 81 all the way up to 84, 85, just in the lower half of the 80s. Time for big Gary or little Gary or multi-jointed swim baits. They're not, I don't know, maybe. I don't think they're moving around and chasing hard enough for those more constant moving swim baits to really be a player yet. I'm having more luck on the jerkbait, the glide bait, things that have some stop-start pause in them. Spinnerbait, I can slow down and shake it and jiggle it. I'm having more luck with things that I can change the cadence to instead of just the more steady, faster retrieves. But it's coming. Like we need like a good, like we need highs in the 70s for a couple days. If we get highs in the 70s for a couple days, all that stuff will really start to play. I think the chatterbait, the swim jig, the big paddle tail swim baits, I think, and the glide bait bite will get better. Like all that stuff will really start to play and really improve. Could you throw a convict instead of a glide bait? I kind of just answered that. I think you can, but it'll be better as soon as we get one good cold stretch. Wish we could post pictures of baits here. That would be pretty cool if we could post pictures of baits. Cheers, y'all. Get that brown in that cup. Hold it up, drink it down. Ever fished Lake Nakanish? Driving down from Chicago in 10 days. If they aren't biting, might have to call you. Nakanish is supposed to be real good. I've never fished it. Nakanish is supposed to be an awesome, awesome lake. I've never fished it. Went to El Salto last January. Me and my fishing partner caught 276 bass, 2 to 8 pounds in one day. You did not catch 276 bass in one day. Who the hell can keep count? Like, who counts that high? I mean, you got to stop counting after you break like 100, right? 1.5 sexy shad. Bass loving on Salto and Pikachu. How do they work on for it? A 1.5, I mean, that's basically what this is. This is the 6-inch Crush 50X and Shad drone. That's basically the really, really similar bait. I catch fish on Lake Fork all the time on that bait right there. Really, really similar bait. The guide keeps count. Oh, the Mexican dude. Was he got like a clicker? So I guess in Mexico, when you go there, the guide must have one of those counters that he clicks every time you catch one. Have I seen her use the Weedless Swim Jig? 6 cents, put a picture out of? I haven't. No, I have not been privy to that. I'm a little upset. They've been slacking on getting me the prototypes here lately. I'm beginning to wonder if they still love me. No, I'm just kidding. 6 cents of me are awesome. No, I have not seen a Weedless Swim Jig. I will tell you this. I've thrown their other swim jig that I love, just the regular swim jig that's been out for a while, but I have not seen the new one. I will put in a request to get one ASAP. I think we might have caught up on questions, man. Y'all keep popping the questions in. We'll keep rolling. We will keep this train going down the tracks. Y'all just keep on popping the questions in. Todd Fleischer's having his own conversation with John. I'm not real sure what they're getting at. Talking about fishing like a crappie guide or something. I don't know what's going on with Todd and John there. What retrieve on the 50X is more productive? What about deep fish? Are deep fish still available? Not for me. Man, I mean, they're coming like they should be coming anytime. I think, again, that next cold front, like get me a couple days in the 70s, it'll push a bunch of fish back out offshore. It'll take this turnover scattered fish situation and really start to group them back up. Questions are rolling in now. I'm going to do the best I can to get to them all. So that's what we need for the deep fish. I'm not really catching deep fish right now. What retrieve on the Crush 50X is more productive? So what I do with any square bill type of bait, shallow diving crankbait, it's not really about my retrieve. It's about the cover. So I try to find hard cover, stumps, brush, something that I can contact, rock, whatever. Something I can contact and bang that crankbait off of. Where I catch fish on square bills, shallow diving crankbaits, movement 80X, stuff like that, is when I'm retrieving it and I hit something and that square bill bounces off of it. That little deflection off of cover is what gets a lot of your bites, really what gets your bigger bites. But I just use a medium to honestly kind of fast retrieve, and I try to really hit that cover and make that bait bounce off that cover. That's my goal with those type of crankbaits. Going down there in November, what's a good date? I mean, I'm assuming you mean what's a good bait to throw. Man, in November, you're going to have two types of fish. You're going to have shallow fish, you're going to have deep fish. You're gonna have a two-way go. There's really not gonna be a lot in between. Up shallow, you can throw big swim baits. Up shallow, you can throw bigger shallow crankbaits like the Moving 80X. You can throw a swim jig. All that kind of stuff can catch you a big fish up shallow. Out deep, flutter spoons, deep diving crankbaits, Alabama rigs are gonna be your deal. There's your baits for November. But obviously that is all subject to change based on fish, because fish do a lot of different things. If we aren't worried about numbers but PBs, what are your suggestions? Right now, that big glide bait. Go up shallow with a big shallow glide bait, like a floating glide bait, like the draw from 6 cents. That is gonna be your best bet to go catch a giant right now, in my opinion, to specifically target a giant. It's gonna take a lot of patience. The odds are you're not gonna get very many bites at all, but man, when you do, it'll be a good one. What do you think would be a good lure to use on Conroe now? Conroe right now, man, that Finesse Jig, I mean, everything's gonna be similar. That Finesse Jig is gonna be really good. That Lipless Crankbait's gonna be really good. You know, Finesse Jig is probably gonna be my deal. I'm gonna stay around the brushed up docks, and I'm gonna throw a Finesse Jig a bunch on Conroe right now. But guys, we're talking about, my experience on Conroe is from 20 years ago. Maybe more, like 25 years ago. I was a kid. So I do know how the lake lays out. I know kind of how the lake fishes historically, but I have no current working knowledge on Conroe. I hear ice rattling. Yeah, it's rattling. We're getting down there. We're getting on down there. We're setting up a trip on Saturday. I'm 10 minutes. Okay. Oh, you guys are up next to each other in Kansas. Gotcha. That's John and Todd Fleischer. What would you throw on Rayburn if they were only up in bushes biting on Seco? Swim jig? Yeah, swim jig would be good up in bushes. Swim jig is a 4-wheel drive. In fact, last night I posted a swim jig how-to video. That'd be a real good video for you to watch, because it was about fishing it in flooded cover. That's a really good time to throw a swim jig when you got a bunch of flooded stuff, because, man, swim jig is 4-wheel drive moving bait for the fall. But also, again, flipping that Finesse Jig's so good in the fall, guys. I'm telling you, those little small profile brown and green jigs are so dangerous in the fall. Flipping that jig around those flooded bushes can also be the deal. What does my availability look like? Mid-November. I've got 2 or 3 days open in the second half of November, and that's it. I think maybe 4. I've got 2 to 4 days left for the second half of November. The first half of November is filled. If you want a November date, you need to call now, like right now. I literally only have, it's somewhere between 2, 3, or 4 days left on the second half of November. Which, by the way, second half of November is usually really freaking good. Like, I mean, you can have bad days, especially if you get the wrong day after a cold front, but the second half of November is a very good fall bite. Any particular area you feel is more productive, north, mid, south, also bigger creeks like Little Katy Birch or smaller creeks, main lake pockets? A little bit of all of it can be good. I will tell you right now, guys, I am fishing the northern, like I'm fishing mid-lake up. That's what I'm fishing, mid-lake up. I'm not fishing the south end of the lake a whole lot right now. I don't have a lot of areas. Like when fish get really shallow, I have areas further north on the lake where they kind of move sooner in numbers, and that's where I tend to stay. If you were to go download the Fish Life app, subscribe to the Lake Fork Premium Package right now, you would see that. It's like you draw a line across the middle of the lake, there's like no waypoints that I've marked south. Now it's scattered on all arms, all creeks, up on the northern ends of both sides of the lake, because Lake Fork kind of has the east side and the west side. But I'm really fishing mid-lake up in the backs of creeks and pockets. Now, as far as smaller pockets or big creeks, there's a little bit of all of it going on right now with the turnover situation with fish scattering shallow. So it can be a small pocket, it can be a big creek, it can be somewhere in between, and I'm fishing all of it. I'm running a lot, fishing a lot of areas right now. Do I think turnover time would affect a shallow lake like Caddo? A lot less. It's going to affect it a lot less. But the summer to fall transition still affects it, right? They're still going to scatter out. They're still going to get in weird areas and do weird things until they gather up and start regrouping in schools for the fall feed. What do I think they'll be doing on 1 November? Kind of, October 15 to Thanksgiving to me is like the peak period of fall bites. So 1 November, it's going to be a fall bite. It's going to be exactly what we talked about earlier. You're going to have fish grouped up shallow in the backs of creeks. You're going to have fish grouped up out deep on the main lake. And you're going to have those two goes and really not a lot of in between. That's what you should be having happen November 1. When will the flutter spoon and hair jig come into play? Again, when they group up offshore, which I think, like I said, we need one more good cold front to really start giving us some good groups of fish offshore again. With the flow glider 140 work up shallow, yeah, guys, those glide bait bites that I'm talking about, man, they will bite it a little bit, but this is not a real good bite. Like, there's not a lot of them. I mean, you're going on a trophy hunt. But yes, the flow glider 140 will also catch fish up shallow as well. What water temp will kill the topwater bite? Shoot, man, it's got to get down into the 50s. Got to get all the way down into like the mid 50s, honestly. Are we fishing November 1st, Higginbotham? I mean, if you're booked for November 1st, yeah, I know I've got you on the books coming up. If that's November 1st, then yes, sir, we're fishing then. Top Flasher says, I need a clicker to keep up with open dates. I do. I need something. That's why I literally got a guy that I paid to book my trips for me because I can't do it. It's just too much to keep up with. I'm not real good at that stuff anyway. What's your best early morning bait right now? Man, early morning. Man, I'm throwing that little trap and that wacky worm a lot early in the morning. I really am. And the finesse jig too. Like, the early morning's not really changing. Like morning, midday, afternoon, my bite's not changing. These fish are shallow all day right now. Jerry Dean, I appreciate that, brother. Oh, Jerry Dean Jr. in the house. If I had one bait to throw at Caddo, what would it be? One bait to throw at Caddo right now. Probably a frog. Just for the big fish factor. And I know Caddo is just a great frog lake. A really, really good frog lake. I might be totally wrong on that. Like, I'm taking a little bit of a risk there. The safe bet would be like a wacky worm or that finesse jig. What's your recommended way to fish the trace? The trace is the multi-jointed swim bait, the multi-joint hard swim bait. Man, that's just a medium to slow, steady retrieve on that. What's the difference between a provoke and a hyper jerk? How would you fish them? Well, provoke is a suspending single piece jerkbait, traditional jerkbait. The hyper jerk is a multi-jointed sinking bait that you have to fish very fast. It's a very fast fishing bait. So they're totally different baits. Where's the thermocloud on Fork? We never really got one this year, honestly. I got secretaries, yeah, something like that. Boy, I hear the thunder rumbling out there. It's about to storm around here. Have you ever tried the Riot Baits baton? No, I sure have not. I don't really honestly know what that is. With cooler water, will that change the type of topwater, like from frog to walking to buzz? Yeah, buzz bait will get better when it gets cooler. The frog will get, right now we need it to get a little bit cooler for the frog to really kick in. They're just starting to bite that frog. But yeah, no, you will start to see a buzzbait plays in a little bit colder water. I mean, a buzzbait will be a bait that'll be effective when we get cooler water. He's an ugly second. Yeah. Y'all see him. It's old Chris, man. Chris is the one that books our trips. The guy that does the podcast with me on Sundays, he's the one that books our trips. Speaking of, on Sunday, we've got a really cool podcast coming up. We got Patrick Walters who's going to call in, and we're going to really dive in on live sonar fishing. And really, now that I've been using it enough and kind of getting a little bit handy with it, we're going to dive in and ask some really cool questions of Patrick and get some insight from the guy that's won more money on live sonar than anybody on the face of the earth. You can debate who's the best at it or whatnot. But when it comes to big time bass fishing tournaments, that dude's won more money bass fishing with live sonar than anybody on earth has by a lot. So we are going to really dig in on live sonar conversation with Patrick Walters this Sunday. It'll be Sunday evening. We'll start right around 6 p.m. Throw a rogue on Caddo? Shoot, I believe that. Old rogue, old rattling rogue. That's an old school bait there. Who all is going west? I don't know yet. We have not put the details together yet. But I'm pretty sure we're trying to get Zach and Cody Bernay. Zach Watts, Cody Bernay is trying to go. And other than that, I'm not real sure who all is going. Cody Mays, I guess you're going to go. Jamie Smith, you need to book a trip with me in spring, man. You better hurry. I will tell you this, because our spring is filling up so fast this year, guys. It is insane. Like, I think March is done. What will this rain do for the bite this weekend? Man, if the air temps will cool off and it'll cool the water temps down, it ain't going to do nothing but help. It'll be good. I mean, I think it'll be good. Of course, they've said it was going to rain the last 2 days here, and it has not rained a daggum drop. They said we were supposed to get over an inch of rain yesterday. We got 0, like not a sprinkle, like nothing. They said it was going to rain today. It hasn't rained today. I hear thunder. I see clouds building earlier tonight. I hear thunder right now, so I assume it's going to rain tonight. But so far, they've been predicting and projecting rain, and we've got, I mean, absolutely none. So, who knows? Fleischer says, count me and Cannon in. I would love to have you guys. That would be awesome to have old Cody Cannon and Fleischer on the trip, dude. We'd have a good time. I'm the GOAT. I'm not the GOAT. You know, the only thing I might be the GOAT on drinking brown water on live streams. Let's go. Let's hold them up. Get that brown in that cup and hold them up. Let's get it. What color wacky worm? Watermelon candy. Watermelon candy's been my best color. It's a turd floater in Fort Worth. Good. There you go. Do I live near Fort? Not really. I live like, I'm 30 from my driveway. I'm 35 minutes from my driveway to Lake Fort Marina. I live in Van, Texas. It's right down on I-20, straight south of Lake Fort. We on the south side. The south side. Man, if you grew up in Houston in the 90s, what's up, y'all? What you got to say? Who's on the mic? Screwed it. We on the south side. What's up? Never mind. There's probably nobody in here that knows what I'm talking about. Raining hard in Kilgore. It's just going around us. It's on all sides. The rain has us surrounded, but it won't rain here. Jamie Smith, I look forward to it, dude. I want to get you hooked up, man. I want to fish with you. Y'all, he says he's going to holler at me Monday and see what we got. Dude, that's awesome. I look forward to getting out with y'all. What was the nail on that wacky rig? I use like I think it's man, it might be like a 32nd or a 16th. It's just the nail weight, Lunker City nail weights you can buy in the tackle store. And I just break them in half. They're really easy to break. Break them in half, put half that nail weight in the head of the wacky worm. How's the chatterbait bite? Yeah, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. I've gotten a fish here or there to bite it. It's not great. There's other bait. The other baits we mentioned are working better, especially that Lipless Crankbait has been my best moving bait this week. Spinnerbait's been better. A little quarter-ounce white spinnerbait has been better. The chatterbait's been, get a bite here or there, but it's really a tough bite on the chatterbait right now. Fleischer's out. Got to load in at 8. There you go. Text me tomorrow. That'll work. TF, Todd Fleischer. Text me tomorrow, man. We'll, yeah, I need to put some details together on that trip because it's coming up here in a couple months. We're going to try and get a trip out west, and we would obviously love for you guys to join us, and you and Cannon and Maze, I think you're going to want to go. Latham, you're going to want to go. We'll go out and have a good time. Have a real good time. In fact, maybe once we put the trip together, what we can do is announce the trip on a live stream, and any of you viewers that want to come out there and get your own lodging and kind of be at the same lake with us at the same time, maybe we can just announce that trip, and we just go have a Your Lake Fort Guide bass catching party out there out west. We're going to hit OHIV, may hit some other lakes around there, Island Henry, I don't know. But once we get the details, maybe we can announce that. And yeah, we may not all stay at the same hotel or whatever, but we can all be in the same area and just go bass fishing together. It'll be a good time. Big John, you definitely invited, big dog. Always, always. Hell yeah, man. I'll tell you what, the cup is getting mighty empty. The questions are getting slower. Y'all know what that means? Y'all know what that means, which this is a good thing because it means it's time to crank this little number back up and time for us to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up. If I see my home again. By the way, this is my favorite song by my favorite band. I love me some Frogman now. Frogman's my jam. Man, thank you guys so much for joining us as you always do. Listen to old Cannon. Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us as you always do. Thank you for everything that you guys do to help me build my career and live my dream. Man, I could not do it without each and every single one of y'all. Smash that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share this daggum live stream. Y'all come see us on Sunday. We'll be live again with Patrick Walters talking about live sonar. We'll have a seminar video on Saturday. Y'all just keep watching all of it, man. Y'all keep clicking. We'll get back to fishing. We'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fort Guide.